Stephen Hawking has found God, and it's pretty obvious. He has stated that because there is a law, such as gravity, the universe can and will create itself. Just recently, I posted an article about how Stephen Hawking had come out, well, as something everyone's known for a very long time, that he's an atheist. But he's an atheist of a particular kind. So he's an adherent of the sect or denomination of atheism that positively affirms God's non-existence. So in other words, he claims to know that God doesn't exist. And of course, now he can be called to provide the proof for this knowledge he claims to have. And now what's interesting is I had atheists writing to me how, oh no, they don't. He doesn't have to prove anything. He just doesn't believe in God. Well, no. He made the claim to positive knowledge. And when you make a positive knowledge claim, you need to provide your proof. He didn't just say, I don't believe in God, and not even, I don't believe God exists, but that he knows that God doesn't exist. And it shows that atheists have carved themselves out quite the niche, you know. They believe that all they need to do is sit back and deny and deny and deny and deny and never have to prove anything. How convenient. Even when they claim to know that God does not exist, they still feel that they don't have to do anything. There's no work to be done. There's no arguments to be proposed. There's no evidence. There's no proof. Nothing. All they have to do is sit back, demand that the theists prove that God exists, and then raise the notion of extraordinary claims requiring extraordinary evidence, which is of course preposterous, because extraordinary claims only require adequate evidence, right? I mean, if I claim to you that there's a bowling alley on the dark side of the moon, that's quite an extraordinary claim. But it would simply require us to go to the dark side of the moon and look. All right? So what they do is they use this as a tool. So when you tell yourself that claiming that God exists is an extraordinary claim, and that therefore it requires extraordinary evidence, it allows you to sit back and claim that any and all evidence is not extraordinary enough, and therefore you can simply wipe it away and demand more and better and more extraordinary evidence, so that nothing will satisfy, nothing, because their requirement is simply vague. What does extraordinary mean? And that's the point. It's vague enough to be meaningless. So Stephen Hawking makes this embarrassingly illogical statement. And so this is an issue with Stephen Hawking and so many like him. Within his field of research, he's a brilliant scientist. Once he steps a single inch outside of his field of research, he's an idiot savant, sans the savant. Okay, so in other words, now he's making statements based on philosophy and logic, even while claiming philosophy is dead. And comes across making a preposterous statement. Because there is a law. Okay, stop there, because he says such as gravity. So therefore, a law, just a generic law, such as gravity. So if there's a law such as gravity, the universe can and will create itself. Now, of course, this is unreasonable circular reasoning, because in order to create itself, the universe would have to already exist. And what is this law? Remember, as I just noted, it's not necessarily the law of gravity, but if there is a law, then the universe can and will? What? That's no less than incoherent. So what is this law? Well, apparently, one thing that Stephen Hawking is claiming is a miracle greater than that which is found within the Bible. Because within the Bible, all you have is a pre-existing God speaking the universe into existence. And Stephen Hawking's theology, you have this law making it possible for something that doesn't exist to create itself, or for some kind of circularity that something creates itself and therefore it exists and can create itself. I mean, I don't get it. Maybe I'm just, I ain't got that much smarts, or maybe it's just pure nonsense. But what he is saying is that if there is something, then there can be something else. Okay, this is the ultimate answer to the ultimate question, which is, why is there something rather than nothing? Well, Hawking is saying that there's something rather than nothing because first there was something. Okay, so in other words, this something, this law, must be eternal. So apparently this law is a stand-in in Hawking theology for God. That's all it is. This law that pre-exists the universe, this law that exists outside of and beyond the universe, and somehow played a part in causing the universe, this law is that which we call God. So basically, Hawking has gone from science to theology, but instead of using the term God, he uses the term law. See, because this way you can escape the reality of God being a personal being, and therefore you're not subject to God. You don't have to answer to God. You won't be judged by God. You can just do away with all these unpleasant aspects of God as being a person, a personal being. And you can just think of God as some sort of force or energy or law. But of course, what is a law? Well, we have absolutely no idea what a law is, because within such contexts, such as the laws of nature, the laws of thermodynamics, the law of gravity, we don't actually know what the phenomena is. What we refer to as a law is our description of observed phenomena, but we do not know what those things are. We are merely attempting to express that which we observe. So, for Hawking, his lifelong pursuit has led him to recognize that an eternal God is necessary for the existence of the universe. But given that he is an adherent of the thought-restricting worldview of atheism, he has to name that God a law.